Hi guys, welcome to class. Following on from discussion we had this morning about the empire, we're going to talk about the slave trade, okay? And we're going to talk about the negative aspects of the empire. So you get an understanding of this, and for some may already know this already. We're going to read an article about Britain's role in the slave trade and discuss this. It's quite a controversial topic, but we'll talk in a completely honest way, to the best of my knowledge, and we're going to read this article and discuss. Yeah, so there was this was a really bad part of the empire, and yeah, we're going to discuss this. So I will send you the article in the meantime, so you know what we're referring to. Okay, and yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay, so hopefully lots of people can join. Feel free to open this beforehand, and we'll read and discuss it, learn about the language and this kind of thing. So hopefully lots of people can come. In the meantime, please add me on Facebook, okay? So please add my Verbling page, Martin Stone of Verbling, and we can communicate in between classes. You can suggest ideas and comment and things like this. So that will be quite useful if you can do this. So hopefully, yeah, there's not too long to wait, and we'll see who comes. So we had an interesting discussion this morning about the empire, learning about the history of the British Empire. And now we're going to talk about some negative sides of it, some really shocking sides of it, quite frankly. So, let's wait. Is anyone there? Is anyone going to join in? Could you indicate just on the chat box if you're coming? And we'll welcome you very soon. Maybe Ali Akbar is there, yeah? So he was asking where the next speaking class is. It'll be the next one. I've got to still schedule them on Verbling, but it'll be the next class I offer, yes? So it'll be advanced, intermediate, advanced speaking, yes? Something or other. I'll think about it in a minute. Okay, come on, guys. Come on, join. We have Abdul.
Yes, sir.
We have Mohsin.
Yes.
Cool, and we have Yunus. And we have Peter. Okay, so we'll wait to introduce everyone actually till more people come. Okay, we have Peter. And we have Enes. Okay, so Yunus, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay, nice to meet you, Yunus. And where are you from?
I'm from Turkey.
Great. Okay, nice to meet you. Okay, and we have Peter. Club Talk. Cool. Okay. Peter, are you there? We'll come back. Mohsin, you there? Mohsin? Okay, we'll come back to you. In the meantime, we have also Nemo, but we'll come back to you because it will load. And Maria, can you hear us, Maria? Okay, guys, check your microphone settings. Make sure you're not muted. Yeah, it could be that you are muted. So check this. But Fang Ying, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, nice to speak with you again.
It's my pleasure.
Cool, mine too. Okay, and you're from China, if I remember rightly. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, nice to meet you. And Enes.
Yes, teacher.
Cool. And where are you from, Enes? We've spoken before. From Turkey.
I'm from Istanbul in Turkey, teacher.
Turkey. Cool. And Albert? Can you hear us? Okay, we can't hear you just yet. Just check your mic settings. Make sure you're not on mute, okay?
Okay, I check my mic. Is it work now?
I can hear someone. Yeah, Mohsin, perfect.
Yes.
Cool. Nice to speak with you again, Mohsin. Nice to speak with you.
Thank you.
Cool. And Nemo.
Yeah.
Cool. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How about you?
Not too bad. And Peter. Okay, Peter, can you hear?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Are you all right? did you like the tour? Yeah. So did you have any requests?
Well, I still haven't seen the speaker's corner in Hyde Park.
I don't know where that's. Okay. To be honest, I can't navigate to Hyde Park. I just always get there by accident. Now,
Yeah,
honestly,
what an
I always seem
excuse.
to end up in Hyde Park somehow. Yeah. Wherever
You
I
don't
am.
know where
oh,
it
this
is.
Hyde Park.
Tell the
Yeah. Okay. So, Hyde what? Sorry. Okay, I have a question, teacher. Can I go up from the airport without visa when I transfer to London? Unfortunately, the visa process to come to the UK is such a it's such a pain. I think it's not easy. Yeah, so it may be possible, but maybe not easy. Enes, why are you thinking of doing it?
Because I have had ticket with transferring on the London to the America.
Yep.
And there is 20 hours, and I think to go out, maybe travel to the London if I can.
You have a Turkish passport, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Turkey's not yet in the EU. No, it's not yet. Is it?
No.
Not yet. Okay, so in that case, yeah, you'd have to maybe apply for some kind of visa, maybe I don't know, a day visa or something. But if you add me on Facebook, I can check it out for you if you ask me again later. Okay. I can find out this information for you. Because it would be good, yeah, rather than waiting at the airport. The airport in the UK is quite boring. It'd be nice if you can see something. But any guys who are planning to go to the UK or whatever and need advice on how to do it or visas and things like that, add me on Facebook and ask me any time, yeah? I'll try to find out the information for you.
I think a good source is the Home Office, no?
Yeah, you can search on the internet, so the Home Office, the things like the embassy in your country and stuff, but I think it's not so easy. But okay, so we are talking about a controversial topic again, namely the empire, but more specifically focusing on the slave trade. Because we were talking about the history a little bit earlier, now we're going to talk about something a bit more controversial. Yunus.
Yep.
Have you heard much about the slave trade and the British Empire?
Actually, a little bit I know about this topic. Of course, I don't in favor of slave trade, and of course I believe in the equality of the people.
Yep.
But actually, I have no much details about this subject because in Turkey, in the history of Turkey, we didn't face with this type of things, something about slave trade and something else. So actually, I don't have any deep information about this topic.
Okay. So we'll talk in fairly general terms. Of course, it's not completely a history lesson. We're just going to read an article and basically talk about it in some detail. But Peter, do you know much about it?
No, not really. I was quite surprised that there was such a big slave trade with the British.
I hope you all
knew about the American slave trade, but no.
Yeah, it was quite a big part. I hope I don't put you off the UK and British people. Okay, we're not like this anymore. But Nemo, did you hear about this?
No, I didn't hear about the London slave trade, but I heard about here in my country and the Arab country before. We lived in the era of slaves and there were a market of slave trading.
There was from the empire or from other sources.
No, other source.
Other ways. So yeah, at the time there was slavery around, but particularly we're talking about it because it's part of the reason how the UK got money, and it's a very controversial thing. But Nguyen, have you heard about the slave trade and the British Empire?
I heard before, but and in my country is Vietnam, so in the past we have some war, and I think it's and in Vietnamese people have some Vietnamese people like that. I think so. In the past, in the war of Vietnam.
Okay, so in the Vietnam War, yeah. So that's another thing. But Mohsen, yeah. So Mohsen, have you heard much? the slave trade?
I'm sorry.
Have you heard about the slave trade in the British Empire?
I didn't hear anything about slave trade.
Maybe I should be selective in what I chose as the topic. Guys, this is, but I'm going to, in this series of class, I'm basically trying to introduce you to our history, our culture from a good and bad side, yeah? So I don't want to hide anything. I could have censored this and said, yeah, let's move away from this, let's not talk about it, let's just talk about the good things. But you're gonna hear some really, really sick things. You're going to hear some things that is quite disgusting, actually, yeah? So in our history. But Maria, have you heard about this?
Well, I must admit I haven't heard much about it, so
No worries.
it's kind of new to me. But
Okay, please don't hate the British, okay? Please, after this session, don't say I hate you, Martin, okay?
no, I'm just interested in history.
No worries. Let's
So-
discuss this in a bit. So, Fang Ying, have you heard about this, the slave trade?
I don't like history very much, so not pretty much. But I've heard that the white people trade black people to do tough work for them.
Okay, yeah. So we'll read and discuss in a minute, but essentially, sort of, yeah. So, NS, do you know?
Yes, teacher, I heard you. I have read about some book to the slave. There was a lot of slaver trade on the book.
Okay, so this.
The book was Jules Verne's books.
Is it Turkish, did you say? Or?
No, Jules Verne. It is a French writer.
Okay.
I don't know how.
Write this down if you
But
can.
I think that is fiction, right? Jules Verne wrote fictional stories.
Yeah, Jules Verne.
Okay, I didn't know yet. So
Like 10,000 Miles Under the Sea and some other stories. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. Abdul, the slave trade.
Yeah, I know about that.
Okay, you know about it a bit. Okay, so guys, let's read this an article about Britain's role in the slave trade. So we're going to read this and then we're going to discuss it. Yeah, it's a pretty dirty topic. Yeah, but why not? Let's discuss it. Okay, so
And also,
yeah, sorry, Abdul.
the slave trade too, and if I am correct, if not, so please let me correct, about the children's too, home children's.
Like children and stuff.
Yeah, for, I think for the labor shortages and sexual abuse,
It could be, yeah, because the thing is, a lot of people had power. Certain people have power, and of course, like anyone, they can abuse that power. Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not familiar with particular examples, but it wouldn't surprise me. Like for example, nowadays there's pedophiles and things. Guys, I'm gonna mute some of you if there's an echo, but don't be offended, guys. Okay? So, yeah, there is a slight echo coming from somewhere. Could everyone make sure their Burbling chat box is closed? Their Burbling website. In any case, let's go on to this article. I've sent it to you on the Burbling chat. Sorry, there is an echo. I'm going to mute a lot of people and see if we find out the source. Okay. Have we found it yet? Okay, guys, let's keep the microphones muted until you want to speak, until you can speak. Otherwise, we won't know where the source comes from, unless you know of it. Okay, so on the Burbling chat box, you can see an article. This is from a couple of years ago, where the then Prime Minister, Tony Blair, had to apologise. Of course, and lots of people have apologised in recent history and stuff about this, yeah? So let's read this and discuss. So, who would like to make a start?
Me,
Yes, please.
Mohsen. Read it.
Sorry?
Teacher, do you want me to read the article?
Out loud, please. Yeah, just read the first 2 paragraphs, maybe.
Okay. Slavery had been illegal in Britain since 1102, but there were no laws to stop the use of slaves to toil in the fields and plantations of the growing empire.
Okay.
Soon,
Yep. The next paragraph as well, sorry.
soon after the discovery of North America and the setting up of British colonies, the native population had been decimated by disease. The Crown began the wholesale transportation of African slaves to work in the colonies.
Okay, was that clear for everyone? Okay, so for example, Peter, from this, what did you understand?
Well, there was a big slave trade going on during the 17th and 18th century.
Okay, yeah. Even though, guys, there is an echo, could you all mute yourself, please? Unless someone knows where it's come from. It could be because of headphones, or it could be that we've got the Verbling page.
It looks like it's actually coming from Abdul.
Oh, is it Abdul?
When you speak, the green bar moves up in below Abdul's picture.
Okay.
Some strange.
Hello. Can we see it? Oh, now it's not there, maybe. Okay, so maybe it's okay, Abdul, now. Okay, so we'll see. Okay, so it was illegal in Britain, so as in on the land of our country since 1102. So since what? Really, you know, over 1,000 years now. Well, not 1,000 years quite, yeah, but for a very, very long time, it's been illegal in the UK. It didn't happen in our country since this date. So this is a hell of a long time ago. But at that time, because the empire was new, there was no laws. The businesses found a loophole. Do you know what a loophole is?
Yes.
What does this mean?
Can I describe? Yeah, it's a loophole. It's when you button your shirt, you put the button through the loophole.
Okay, that's one thing. I'll just answer Ali Akbar's question. Ali Akbar, the lesson after this one on Verbling, the next one I've scheduled will be a speaking class, Ali Akbar. I just haven't uploaded it yet onto Verbling, but you can see that it's there. I just need to put the topics, okay? So Ali Akbar, it will be the next one I have after this one, okay? Okay, so a loophole, yeah, that's a loophole is in this context just what, Peter, do you know? Or Abdul, do you know?
That there was still slave trade in the British colonies? Do you mean that?
Loophole, yeah. So what does a loophole mean?
A loophole, so it's not illegal. You can do something and there is no law against that.
Yes, because the empire, it's when you find a way through the system because there is no law, specific law against it. So in the UK, it was concrete fact, it was illegal to use slaves in Great Britain, yeah, in the UK, wherever it was at that time. But because the empire was new, they didn't write in the law books, oh, you can also not use slaves in overseas colonies. And because they didn't have this law, of course, businesses exploited this and used slaves. Yeah, so businessmen are businessmen wherever they are. Yeah, so they always find ways through the system because there was no law that said they couldn't use them. Yeah, that was the cause of it. That's why they had it. Did everyone understand? Yeah.
Yes, but we are muted. So.
Okay. That's right. That's right. You're not. I've muted you. I've silenced you. I'm a British dictator. I control you all.
Yeah, now it comes out.
Now it's come out. Our real motives. Yes. World domination through Verbling. No, of course not. Okay, so yeah, please unmute yourself if you want to say something. Okay, so did everyone understand so far? Yeah, so this is really the roots of it. Yeah, so this way where it existed, there was a loophole, and business people, like business people everywhere, tries to get around the law a bit. Yeah, and to get free labor. Any comments or queries or anything?
Would you know if the Aborigines from Australia were also used as slaves? Because I've never heard of that.
I don't.
This article is more or less talking about African slaves.
Africans
not from
and Caribbean slaves were the biggest one. The slaves came from Africa and the Caribbean because that's where the plantations, that's where we used them, for example, to get the sugar, to get the things like tea and stuff like that. Yeah, so
But
it's
I mean,
kind of labor.
Australia at one time was also a British colony.
But I didn't know if they had many resources that we used. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to look into that one. But I don't think they had much like sugar or anything that we
Mineral?
produced there. I'm not sure.
I mean,
Can I ask something?
Yes, please.
Could you remind me, please, when was the time for the British Empire?
From really it started maybe from the 1400s up until the mid 20th century.
Okay,
Actually,
okay.
the late 20th century. Yeah, so up until maybe 1997, when we gave Hong Kong back to China.
Okay. Yeah, right.
But it's
Yeah, I
over a
remember.
long time. Yeah, so it was over many hundreds of years. It wasn't just like some random.
1300s. Okay.
Yeah, but the height of the empire was with Queen Victoria. That's where really, in the Victorian times, that's where things took up with the Industrial Revolution, and that's where the money started coming in. And that thing. Okay, but it's been over a really many centuries. Okay, so any more questions so far? In that case, let's go on. We'll talk about any new words. So, soon after the discovery of North America and the setting up of British colonies, the native population had been decimated, meaning killed out. Yeah.
Reduced.
reduced, yeah. Reduced. Decimated. Reduced.
Yeah. So, some were killed out and stuff by disease. The crown, which was basically, the royal family, the crown, Queen Victoria, kind of regime, so to say, or whatever, began the wholesale transportation of African slaves to work in the colonies. What does this mean? So wholesale.
In this context, it means the mass transportation of African slaves.
And this was, in fact, the crown. So this was the government. This was part of the government. Yeah. So they basically, well, we're not going to change the law. There's no law. And basically, they transported the slaves from Africa to other parts of the colonies, other parts of the empire to work. So, okay, you go to the Caribbean, you go to India, you go wherever. I don't think they went to India. Did they go to India, Abdul?
Not really. In India, the story was totally different.
Yeah, so this is more focusing on Caribbean and Africa, I'd say, yeah? Did we have Indian slaves, Abdul?
No, like I said, the story in India was totally different. Like, they came there for the business, and after that, they were planning to take over the country, and for that, the idea was, to divide and rule.
Yeah. So
what does it mean? Like, divide the local people.
And
like India is basically, like a big country. I mean, Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus, Christians. So I mean, divide those people. Just like when people from two different point of view, when you like when you throw some conflict between two different people, and they start fighting on that thing.
To spark conflict because
Exactly.
of different religions. So
races.
they
Exactly.
try to split them up into different
to
groups.
divide them, yes? To divide them. So
Ethnic division.
Yep, so to categorize people, yeah? So you are that, go there, you are that.
Ethnic groups. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ethnic groups and stuff, categorized. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's another thing with India. But this was mainly the Caribbean and Africa, as far as I'm aware. Like I say, I'm not a history expert. I'm just saying what I've heard, what the article is saying. Okay, so I can hear an echo again, guys. I'm not sure where it's come from. Okay, so decimated by disease, the crown began the wholesale. What does wholesale mean? If you go to a wholesaler's, I couldn't hear anyone, but if you go to a wholesaler's, this is when you have a business and you want to buy stock for your shop or for your restaurant. You'll go to a big warehouse and you would buy maybe 20 bottles of Coke to sell. Not just like in a shop where you'd buy one. You buy things in bulk. You buy a lot of things to sell on for profit. Yeah, that's a wholesalers. Yeah.
Yeah, when you go for shopping, so usually you go to a warehouse.
A warehouse, yeah, to buy stock for your shop. In that case, this was a whole. Yep. Someone said hello.
I know this word because I have some time to I have some time to who's let's say like that to make money for my charity group.
Okay, so you've already have experience going to a wholesalers, yeah?
Yeah.
Tell
So
us what it's like. What is it like in a wholesalers?
Yeah. Can you repeat?
What's the difference between a wholesalers and a normal shop?
With a wholesaler, you can you will buy maybe a big at a big market or a big place, and you buy with maybe a lot of goods, and after that you will go to other place to buy to sell with higher prices.
The higher price, yes. You buy lots of things and you sell it for a higher price. Well,
the retailer buys their stuff from the wholesaler.
Yeah. So the retailer, the businessman, buys it from the wholesalers to sell in the shop to the customer. Okay. So essentially, this was the wholesale transportation of African slaves to work in the colonies. What do you understand by this then? The wholesale transportation of African slaves to work in the colonies. What does this mean?
I don't know. They sold them to somebody else. I don't know.
Basically, get a load of African slaves in the ship and then distribute them somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. Like retailers go to the wholesalers, to buy stuffs.
Get some stock. So the African slaves were like stock.
Yeah. So basically, those wholesalers, start selling the slaves to the retailers.
Essentially.
Does it really mean that?
Not as such, yes. So wholesale.
Because I understand it as a kind of mass transportation or transportation in big numbers.
In big numbers, that's what the wholesaler is. So
exactly.
In this context. In this context, they put a load of African slaves on the ship to be distributed to parts of the empire. That's what.
Yeah, if a sugar guy needs some slave for his sugar, so he will buy some different. Yeah.
Yep, so that's the wholesale. Guys, there is an
echo.
So
the illegal part was to bring slaves into Britain or to England?
Yes. Yeah, of course that was illegal because in Britain on the mainland, but then again it kind of happened, but they were called servants. But for example, Queen Victoria had some servants. I think she actually fell in love with an Indian servant. There's a story about this, Abdul. There's some kind of. Sorry, did you hear?
Tell us more.
Okay, there's a story. There's a story basically of one of her Indian servants that she was really charmed by him, and basically I can't remember. Yeah, so I searched this later. I'm not clued up, but there was some kind of story about this. Yeah, that came out a couple of years ago, I think, in a documentary. But yeah, okay. So you could have servants, yeah, but these you'd have to give them certain positions. Like you could have a maid of your house or something like this, but you'd have to treat them in a specific way. You couldn't just give them a bad life as such. But yeah, that's something else. We have Fanfo. Can you hear us, Fanfo?
Yes, hi there.
Nice to speak with you.
Thanks, thank you.
Cool. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, nice to speak with you. Fanfo, we're talking about slavery, the empire and things. We'll continue talking, hopefully catch up. Okay, so Homer has also joined us.
Yeah, hi everybody.
How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. And where are you from?
I'm from Iraq.
Cool, okay, great to meet you.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you too. But I have a problem actually. This is my first time that I joined such a class, and I don't know how to do this.
Okay, don't worry, don't worry. You've joined a very heavy topic as a first class, but we're talking, it's kind of like a sort of history kind of culture thing about the British Empire and slavery. Yeah, so slavery in the British Empire. Have you heard about this, Homer?
You got the answer.
So yeah, that's a no then. Don't worry, just stay there and listen to what we're saying, and hopefully you can join in a bit. Yeah. So as you get
Yeah,
an understanding.
I am here. I muted.
Oh no worries. Okay, so Homer, do you know about the British Empire and also about slavery?
Yeah, actually, one of the stories that I read was about this kind of slavery, maybe trading of slavery.
And what do you know about it?
Well, let's remember Robinson Crusoe.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, actually, the story was starting from that point that that British man was trying to go to Africa to buy some lands for ant plantation.
Yeah.
And the idea was about using those slaves in those farms. Actually, I think.
To produce the goods cheaper, yeah. So to produce to reduce the cost, yeah, and to make things better, yeah. To get more, get more sugar, yeah, to make things better for the British people. Back
And I
home,
think
yeah, that's
the point, the point of slavery was to get cheap labor.
Yeah.
Because they don't cost anything by that time.
Yeah, so it was basically to reduce costs, make things cheaper, so that people back home could get their sugar and tea and that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's essentially what we're talking about. Okay, so I don't think anyone else has joined us, but shout out if you joined and I didn't mention. But let's go back to the text, yeah, and read a bit more. Basically, the wholesale transportation, the mass transportation, the distribution of African slaves to work in the colonies. Okay, who would like to read the next bit?
I would like to read.
Yes, please.
From during or from miserable conditions? From where?
So no one read slaves in the British colonies, right? I can't remember.
Slaves in the British colonies.
From there, yeah. So slaves in the British colonies.
Okay. So 1 or 2 paragraphs.
Two maybe. Two,
okay.
Two.
Slaves in the British colonies in the Caribbean worked on the sugar plantation, which helped make the empire rich. During the course of the 18th century, the British perfected the Atlantic slave system. It is thought between 1700 and 1810, British merchants transported almost 3 million Africans across the Atlantic. More than 30,000 slave voyages took place.
Okay, did you understand?
Yeah, the first 1700 is the year, right? The century, and
between
the years.
These dates, yeah. Between these dates, almost 3 million Africans were transported across the Atlantic. Meaning
so to the Caribbean, to Haiti and so forth, or which place?
Yeah, so it's. So in the Caribbean, basically to work in the sugar plantations and things like that. Yeah, so they were transported across the Atlantic. 3 million Africans from Africa to these kind of countries. More than 30,000 slave voyages took place. What is a voyage?
Journey.
Like French, yes. Journey, yes, a bit like French. Yeah, bon voyage or something you say. Okay, so more than 30,000 slave voyages took place. 30,000 trips, 30,000 ships transporting slaves took place within about 100 years, yeah. So it's a lot, yeah. 3 million Africans were transported by force, yeah.
And to America, perhaps. I'm not sure.
America was a colony at that time. No, it wasn't. Was it? When did America get?
Yeah, I think it was.
Abdul, do you know?
I don't remember.
4th July, 1880s, I think.
1880. So in that case, yeah, to America as well, to work maybe on the cotton, in the cotton industry, because
Yeah,
in
but
America there was
4th of July is the Independence Day.
Okay, yes, yeah.
And
so-
basically it was 13 states,
1850
not
or
the not the 50 states, only 13 states.
Wow. Okay, and then it developed into more. Okay, that's another thing there. That's interesting. Okay, so lots of slaves were transported, yeah, to basically satisfy the needs of the empire. The purpose of the empire was to basically extract as many resources, to produce as much as possible, and to do it in the cheapest way possible, yeah, to make it affordable for the normal people back home. Yeah, so essentially that's what it was. Okay, so who would like to read the next bit? Unless you have questions. Who would like to read?
I would
Yes,
like to read
Yes,
the next paragraph.
Sorry, could you please send me the link? I don't know.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so it's on the Verpling chat box at the beginning,
Yeah.
but I'll send it to you again. One sec.
Oh yeah, I become late.
No worries. Ah, okay, you're just here. Who was that? Who was that? Okay, we have Chowki again. How are you?
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to meet you. And we've spoken before, I'm sure.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we're talking about slavery and things like this, and the British Empire. So have a listen, and then when you feel ready, you can say your opinion and stuff. We won't go over what we've talked about so far, but just try and follow if you can. Yeah. Did you manage to follow by any chance?
I didn't get you at all. You know.
Okay. Do you understand what we're talking about?
No. I'm just currently engaged in the class.
No worries. Okay. So just listen for the time being. At the moment, I'll talk with the others. So listen to what we're talking about, and then we'll ask you. Okay. Okay. So we're talking about the empire and slavery.
There is an interruption. I mean, a connection. I think I can go directly. I mean, your voice is like a robot or something. I can't hear you good.
Abdul, can you hear? Peter, can you hear?
Yeah, your voice
Okay,
is
okay.
okay.
Okay,
His
no worries.
voice is quite robotic.
No worries, Chowki. I'll write it in the text. I'll write it in the chat box, Chowki. Okay, just listen for the moment.
Okay.
We'll come back to you.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, no worries. Okay,
Maybe
so
you want to stop your webcam. That might improve your sound.
Chowki, did you hear?
Sorry?
Peter suggested if you turn your webcam off, maybe the sound gets better. Okay. No worries. And maybe the connection's okay. Okay, so any questions from you guys? Yeah, so did anyone join in? I can't remember. Any questions or any thing you'd like explaining or any words you didn't know? In that case, let's go back, okay? So who would like to read the next part?
Okay, I would like to read the next paragraph.
Yes, please.
So, I read from some historian to.
Yes, please. Yeah. Maybe read the next 3 paragraphs.
Okay. Some historians have read that the translated slavery practice the best for the modern capitalist system, creating immense wealth for the British companies, which ran in cities such as Bristol, London, and Liverpool grew rich of the trade. The slaves include not only African but men arrested after a royalist uprising in the West Country in 1655, and Irish Catholics captured by Oliver Cromwell.
Okay, that's interesting because, in that case, if it was illegal on British Isles, then they took the Irish ones. Okay, that's something interesting. Okay, so did you understand?
Yeah, I think must have some new word.
Okay,
I don't understand some new word like bedrock.
Which one, sorry?
Bedrock.
Bedrock.
Bedrock. Okay.
Yes.
Does anyone know what bedrock means?
Would you please tell me which paragraph you are reading now?
Oh, sorry. After the headline, miserable conditions. Yes. So the first paragraph after it says, from some historians. Yep. From some historians.
Thank you.
Okay. So the bedrock. What does this mean? So what is the bedrock?
Foundation, perhaps?
Foundation.
Yeah, like this. Yeah, the foundations for the modern capitalist system. Yeah. So they're saying arguably, this is what started capitalism. This whole process, the idea of capitalism, arguably, yeah, according to this article. Quick question, yeah, so what do you think of this, Abdul? Do you think it's true? Do you think it's likely? And, yeah, what do you think?
You're asking me about the idea of capitalism?
Yeah. Idea of modern capitalism.
I don't think so. No.
Okay, does anyone have an opinion?
I don't think so. It generates the idea of capitalism. No.
Okay, yeah, so basically people are naturally capitalist, yeah? From even the cavemen days, they want to get the most meat, maybe, yeah? So, I don't know, that's just an interesting idea that they're discussing.
I mean, this story is like something, you know, like very miserable and very, I mean, darn stories. So the thing is, like, if they say the idea of socialism generated from this story, so I will believe, but idea of capitalism from this story, I don't think so.
But essentially it's exploiting a resource for
because the idea of socialism is to distribute the wealth, you know, equal between the people, you know. Yeah.
Okay, but essentially people got rich out of this. The slaves were used as some kind of resource to extract wealth, to generate wealth, like any other resource. But what do you think, Peter?
Yeah, capitalism, I think, mainly exploits whatever. No? I think that was well, in that sense, it might have been the foundation, the basis. No,
so
exploiting people. And it comes down to that, capitalism.
Capitalism
somehow, if some people get rich, some people have to work for that, and they are not usually rich.
Okay, anyone else got an opinion on this? Very controversial.
I think the thing that we read here is completely true, because the reason behind going to the capitalism and slave trading was about getting money, earning more money.
Greed, essentially, yeah. So there were people working the sugar, but we want more sugar. We want more and more sugar, and we want it cheaper. Yeah. So essentially, that's what our system is now. We want it more and more and more, but we want it cheaper. Yeah. So I don't know. Yes, it's a very, very arguable point.
Well, that's actually saying that people, workers who work for very low wages, salaries, they are kind of modern slaves. They are not slaves in the sense it was in the 17th and 1800th century.
But they're paid salary, but maybe not enough to live. Yeah, so there's a problem in many countries where they're paid a salary, but not enough to give them a good enough standard of living to not maybe afford their own apartment or something. Yeah, so that's a big another topic. Yeah, so does slavery actually still exist to some extent? Yeah, but
well, you can't compare it.
But I think
slavery, but it goes in that direction, kind of.
Okay,
I have.
Sorry. Yep. Yes, please.
I have, you know, African American friend. You know, he's my coworker. So I was talking to him, you know, last week. So he was telling me, "Oh man, I mean, you're talking to me about the slavery. You think slavery doesn't exist in the United States? I am telling you, slavery is still here. You know how? If somebody tells you, "Will you want to be my employee?" It means will you want to become a slave?
Ultimately, the system is everyone has someone they work for. No one really has power over their own lives, yeah, and that's essentially, we can't compare the two things, yeah. How they were treated was terrible, really, really bad, and no one can justify that in any case. But essentially, it still exists, yeah. So, not to the same proportions. But I'll leave this up for debate. What do you think, Maria? Would you say slavery still exists in a different form?
Are you asking me?
Yep.
Maria, okay. Slavery, yeah, it's proven. I think that slavery. Some people work under conditions that are so poor that it is considered like a slave work or so, and also, people are being sold on the black market, even though it's prohibited.
This happens, yeah, but that's illegal. I mean, illegal slavery, yeah. So official slavery, does that happen, and who benefits?
What kind of slavery? Sorry.
Like not illegal slavery, like on the black market, but really officially under the current system of the world. Officially, do you think not the name slavery, but do you think something like this exists now, as in someone benefits out of someone else's hard work?
Well, that is a very hard question, because yeah, the one who owns like the production system, or the whatever it's called in English, of course benefits most. The one who owns like the production, the factories, and they benefit more than the workers or the employees. But I mean, is not considered to be slavery if you work for somebody. So.
Okay, yeah, so we wouldn't consider, yeah. So,
but like you said, leave this topic for the future. But I'm telling you that I strongly disagree that slavery still exists.
Okay, now, yeah, so it wouldn't exist, yeah. So it's an interesting point. We'll come back to that one actually.
Well,
okay, so,
it's what you hear from the news, that some people work under poor conditions in some countries, like for
the
example,
benefit of who? Who benefits?
Who benefits? The factory owners and the ones that are buying from these factories. I don't know, the one that has the most money, I guess.
Yeah, essentially, for example, you hear about some children in some countries in Africa still now working for really low money to produce our shoes, produce our clothes. And what's the difference? If they can't, they're getting money for that. They're getting they're getting money for that, but they can't use this money to buy anything because it's not worth anything. Yeah. So, is that still? That's a big debate, and are we still all responsible for it? Yeah. But that's another thing. Let's talk about that in another session. Okay. So. So basically, the historians are saying actually this could be the theory for being the bedrock for the modern capitalist system, as in exploiting people for personal gain, yeah, or exploiting resources, not necessarily people but resources, yeah. What you have, try to make the most of it to improve your profits and things like that. But that's one theory. Okay, creating immense wealth for the British companies which run it. What does this mean? Immense wealth.
Immense is a huge.
Incredible wealth. Yeah, so not just a bit of money on the side, a bit of pocket money, but incredible wealth. Yeah, so these people became rich pretty instantly, or more rich very quickly because of this. Yeah, as a back.
It's like they are surrounded by wealth, or I don't know,
immense. Just a lot.
And that was really the upper class in Britain at that time, not the workforce in Britain profited from the slave trade.
Look at Oliver Twist.
At that time, even tea and sugar was very expensive for the normal people in Britain. They couldn't afford usually to buy that. No?
And ultimately, there's things like, if you've seen Oliver Twist or if you've read Charles Dickens' books, the children in the UK back home had to do things like climbing up chimneys, risking their lives for very little money. But that wasn't seen as slavery, you know. So there was the whole Industrial Revolution, which we'll talk about in another section. Yes, very, very shocking, some of it. But anyway, okay, so...
Sorry, I was thinking about another word. I was thinking about immerse. That
immerse, yeah, immense is a lot, yeah.
What is immerse?
Immerse.
Immerse.
You can immerse yourself in this topic, for example, or immerse yourself in something.
For example, you're now immersing yourself in English. I hope you're not thinking in your native language. But you're immersing yourself in, you're trying to concentrate. Yeah, it's a complicated topic. Maybe even talk about in your own language, but in your second language, you're immersing yourself. A quick checkup on the others. Yes, I've heard a lot from Peter, Abdul, and Maria, etc. Alice, are you following? And do you have an opinion?
Yes, I'm following, and I have an opinion. It could seem like a modern slavery these days, but I wouldn't call it a slavery. Maybe in some countries, yes, but...
It's a dirty word. It is a dirty word.
Yeah, but as soon as people are paid and they live, they have food, and they don't have to live under bad life conditions, then I wouldn't call it slavery.
Okay, yeah, so it depends.
It depends on...
If it's in exchange for something, yeah? So what would your definition of a slave be, yeah? So, Peter, what's your definition of a slave? Oh, yeah, sorry, Alice, please. Alice, please.
If someone is using a person and maybe he's the person's and he doesn't provide the proper salary or something what would help the person to live.
To live. Okay, so in that case, if I said to you, okay, I'm going to give you a job, Alice. I want you to work for 1 cent per hour, but I'm paying you. Would you class yourself as a slave?
1 cent,
1 cent per hour.
It depends in which country you are. In some countries, $1 is too much, and in another countries, it's too less. You couldn't live with $1 per hour.
Okay, so it depends on the country. So, for example, yeah, okay, so it depends, yeah? So if you get, for example, not enough money to sustain a basic style of life, that's my definition of maybe it's like your work is not paying you enough to even get the basic food, yeah? So that's my definition. In that case, I would say it still exists, because ultimately...
But I don't like the word slavery, but it seems like that. And also, many people, they work more than, for example, in my country, we should work 8 hours a day, but many people work 12 or even more hours every day.
For free?
Except Sundays and Saturdays.
Okay, and for the benefit of who? Who's benefiting from this?
The employer.
Okay, that's an interesting point, yeah? So...
Yes, and I don't think this is fair, but I don't think it should be called slavery. But it's not fair, and it should be fixed somehow. But people are glad they have jobs, so they don't complain so much. So.
But I must say that if you work more than 8 hours a day, perhaps you want to do that. I mean,
yeah,
of course there are rules, but
it's
if
choice.
Sometimes you want to do your work better and better, and you want to kind of make progress and contribute more. And so if you want to work 10 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day, it's your choice.
But Alice, you're saying...
It's not your choice, because if you don't finish your work, which you are supposed to finish that day, then
You have to.
you are yes, you have to work, and if you just finish after 8 hours and go home, the employer will consider you a bad worker. Even it's not like that. It's because he gave you too much work, and it's just impossible to finish it within 8 hours.
They're exploiting the resource in that case, which is
And
labor.
because of a high unemployment, they can fire anyone, and they can give the job to another person. So you have to work if you want to keep the job.
But that is capitalism, yes? So capitalism is what we all benefit from to some degree. You work hard, you get more money, you get this kind of thing. But at the same time, you know, if capitalism is defined as basically lots of people getting rich out of exploiting resources, whether that's the land they've got, whether that's the anything they've got, then you know that could also be linked to what we were talking about. But that's a very, very controversial point. And I wouldn't say we cannot compare at all what these people were going through in that time with now, but equally you cannot compare our lives with the lives 300 years ago, you know? So that's another issue.
I think that the main difference is you have to keep in mind, in those times, slaves were actually owned by other people, owned. That is the big difference. Nowadays, when you call something modern slavery, the people are not owned by other people.
And you have the choice, yeah?
And
you go home, because in those days they were actually owned by their owners, their masters, and they weren't free to decide where they wanted to live. They usually lived on the estate in terrible housing.
Yeah, right. I agree.
I read a book
Homer, do you have an opinion?
Yeah.
Well, I agree with who says that there is a choice. Nowadays, we have a choice. For example, a worker, when he works in a company or works for a factory, he has a choice. He can leave the job, but maybe he, because needs that job, didn't leave that job. But in 300 ago, I think that there is no choice for workers there. So slavery is different than now.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting, yeah. Okay, so in a sense, you joined us, yeah? So did you manage to follow?
Yes, I am following you. I am here.
Do you have an opinion?
I am thinking that is a slavery point that woman Maria said that it is not our choice. That and I think that it belongs to us that if you have a study and then you have a choice. If you don't have a study, you don't have any choice to search your work or living with it.
So the power is with us now, yeah? That's the difference.
Yeah,
yes?
the power. But if you have a knowledge, you can become when you want, where you can go. At that time, there wasn't any knowledge because there was so few learning persons. That is why slavery doesn't know their rights, and they can't
decide themselves.
Yeah, that is why.
Okay, so it's an interesting point. Famfo, before we go really quickly, do you have anything else to say?
Yes, I have a comment, but the time is running. About the idea of capitalism.
Yeah.
I think it's behind a condition that divides people into two groups: an upper class and very lower class. Like there is no place for middle people.
Okay, so you're saying that basically it's similar. Okay, the conditions are completely different, yeah? So we're saying now we are empowered to make our own decisions, but ultimately, yeah, there's always a winner and loser, you're saying, yeah? Yeah? Famfo, did I understand?
Yes, kind of.
Okay, so winner loser, there's no one kind of in the middle. Okay, that's another issue. Let's talk about this in another session. But guys, great to speak with you again. I know that was a very, very heavy topic, but yeah, you expressed yourself very, very well as usual. Hopefully I can speak to you in a future session. I've got some more later if you want to join. But until then, take care.
What is the topic for the next class, Martin?
So I'm just going to decide that now, yeah? So maybe something else. Not this. It's quite heavy here. But anyway, take care, guys, and speak to you soon.
Okay,
thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
for the class. Bye, everybody.
Bye.